Right, getting this show back on the road, bringing up Skype. Hey everybody, I'm 2. Hey, we're back. Hour 2. Let's do this thing. So, at the end of the last bit, we had Lux and Midnight wandering off into the dim lighting of the streets of Cecil Road to escort our dear friend Rourke back to his abode. And Joe, could you fix that little thingy again? Tudor is still controlling a mob of 30 people and restraining their violent urge to go tear Rourke apart. And Stein is there with a tiny new gun, which I will do a stat bar for a little while.
Got a knife.
Oh yeah, well, I think someone else is on the big Bowie knife at the moment, but yeah. Cool. So yeah, let's pick a side to follow at first. We'll go up to Lux and Midnight, wandering the slightly chilly streets of Cecil Road. Yeah, so you catch up to Rourke, who's kind of like staggered off a bit, looking a little bit kind of ruffled. And kind of turns around as he hears you come and is like, "Oh, fucking you lot."
We need to make sure you get home safely. Look, we don't want you to have any accidents.
Accidents?
He looks at you like... no, I think he just straight up goes like, "Are you threatening me, princess? Because I may not have any guns left, but I still beat the ever living shit out of you."
I'm only using your own words. Rourke. Were you threatening people of the court?
So I think it's like Rourke mutters something to the tune of "crazy fucking hippies." Just make your own way back to your goddamn palace, Midnight. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, and keeps walking away.
Someone's getting cheeky.
Yeah, I think literally, Greg kind of goes, "Are we just going to let him leave? Because, seems okay with me. I would prefer to go back to the drinking with my friends section of this evening."
Well, I would, but I'm trying to diffuse the whole situation, so...
Yeah, well, he turns, goes, "Well, diffuse."
Or he could have an accident.
I think he should definitely have
You three just kind of like strolling like 10 steps behind him, just chatting quietly.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. I've still got my pistol fully drawn.
Yeah.
Mine's in my holster.
Yeah, but I think you're proposing the peaceful route. He's proposing the violent route. Oh, Lux is proposing the violent route. We actually also have the girl power half of the party as well.
Yeah. Well, I've got a girl power top on. Midnight has her pistol in her holster, poised and ready, just in case any
funny business,
any trouble starts.
Oh, do remember, you guys, that Midnight has 3 hypnosis hold over Lux.
Yes.
Would you like a refresher on how you can pay off that hypno hold?
You probably give it a chat.
Okay, so I will pull up move. Let me hit that button quickly. So Midnight, hypnotic. Let's become fixated with you. That you roll plus heart. 3. Yeah, so she has 3 hold over you. You can spend the hold 1 for 1 by giving Midnight something she wants, acting as her eyes and ears, fighting to protect her, or doing something she tells you to. You can also distract yourself with the thought of her, and to interfere with you. And then you act under fire to do whatever it is you're about to do. Or you can inspire yourself with the thought of her and take +1.
I totally should have remembered to do that earlier when I was going aggro on people.
Yeah, I think you have to act within their interest or against their interests to use that move.
Yeah, probably. I could be acting to impress her.
I mean, that's not to say her interest, it is yours.
I know, but still inspiring themselves with the thought of her.
Fair.
If I'm trying to impress her.
Fair enough. Yeah. So those are things that exist for you. You're still kind of entranced by the amazing woman of the night that is Midnight.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So yeah, I probably want to turn with the kind of almost like puppy face to Midnight. It's like, can we not make him have an accident? He's
Greg
such a prick.
Greg just goes, "Can we please stop speaking euphemisms?" He kind of looks at the two of you, like, and also definitely not those kind of euphemisms.
Amazing.
Yeah, Greg is very salt of the earth kind of guy. He's so yeah. Midnight, I think you're kind of in the driver's seat here. Like Greg is deferring.
But that's where I belong. Sorry.
Greg kind of defers to your judgment over how to deal with Cecil's private security people, and Lux is, you know, kind of on a bit of a leash when it comes to you, which is probably where you intentionally put her.
A little bit, yeah.
Or maybe unintentionally. Maybe you're just that good.
Intentionally.
Okay, yeah. So you're kind of in the driver's seat. So what do you want to happen here?
I'm proposing.
Yep.
That Rourke is becoming such a problem child. I just feel that we just need to kind of take care of him.
Greg goes, "Are we speaking?" Greg Kenley's one. Is this another euphemism? Are we
yes,
well,
he should have, you know, I mean, it's cold outside. It's really cold outside. And if he were to, I don't know, fall asleep,
can I guess
it would
that is
be
3 floors
disastrous.
up. Okay. Yeah, you could probably find like vents to like the outside that does airflow where it will be cold enough if he falls asleep there, he won't wake up the next day because hypothermia is a thing. Yeah, Greg kind of goes, I see.
Considering
we're not just going to do what we usually do with the health inspectors, which is, you know, put a 2x4 in the back of his head and then throw him in the food processing plant.
A member of the Tudor Council, you know, him being there is such an interference for me. And it's just really, really not a thing that I need there. And obviously Lux is kind of under my influence anyway.
Yeah. Greg will point out, as you say, like, that having him around is a difficulty for you. It's like, while I concur that having Cecil's eyes in my court, His Majesty's court does pain me greatly. If Rourke is removed, Cecil will merely put another man there. Is there no way to kind of looks at you both? It's like, yeah, I think Maine looks at Midnight. It's like, is there no way to make him behave?
We can shoot him.
I guess I could make him behave, couldn't I?
Yeah, he looks kind of uncomfortable, like he's asking you to do something that he thinks is distasteful.
So if I decided that I wanted to, for instance, just make Rourke say my eyes and ears and make him do whatever I wanted, which included just behaving and not being an alcoholic idiot.
I mean, so you have 2 ways of getting people to do what you want, really. One is seduce and manipulate, which is kind of a there and then thing. It's I want you to go home peacefully and be quiet and not talk to Cecil about this evening's happenings. That's seduce and manipulate. And if you roll well, you get something out of it. He'll do your thing, or he might ask you to promise something in exchange, or whatever.
But surely if I used my...
The trick with hypnosis...
My hypnotic move, I could decide that I wanted Rourke to go back to Cecil and tell him that basically what I wanted him to say.
Okay, here's the tricky part with that. So hypnotic has 2, while it is a more powerful, longer lasting thing than seduce and manipulate, it has 2 major like difficulties to it. One, you have to spend like time with him, like in a non-violent situation, like just chatting and alone. I think when you have time and solitude with someone, so you have to spend time with Rourke alone in a kind of non-charged situation.
I want Lux to come with me.
Yeah. And the other part of it's a bit difficult is that you don't get to decide how he does the hold. He decides how he spends his hold towards you. However, as he's an NPC, while you still have hold over him, he cannot act against you. So if you can hypnotize him, he can't sell you out to Cecil until he pays off the hypnosis debt. Do remember you have 2 ways of inflicting hypnotic. Either you could basically get back to his place, kind of make him a drink and sit and chat with him for a while and roll, or you can sleep with him and just get it for free. Those. I'm just reminding you of your options. I don't know how willing Midnight is to use her sexuality as a weapon against people.
Midnight's pretty
all about that.
Pretty all about that, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you know how your moves function like that. Yeah. So those are your options. You can seduce and manipulate to say just don't talk to Cecil about tonight, in which case that is all you'll get out of it. You can hypnotize him like long term with the risk of rolling the dice, but also you get XP if you roll hot. If you like get back to his, convince him to talk to you, and then just kind of sit him down and have a nice long conversation and mutter soothing platitudes and all that jazz. Or you can basically just chat him into bed. And yeah, he'll be like putty in your hands. Those are your options. But yeah, I think Greg is kind of looking to you to... Because his solutions... What he knows how to do is beat the ever-living shit out of Rourke. But he knows that's not the right plan. I think Lux is in the position of wanting to shoot him in the back of the head.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean...
Well, I suppose if Lux does shoot him in the back of the head, I can't do an awful lot about it, can I?
Yeah, well, you can manipulate Lux and say... You can basically, like, talk Lux into going back to the bar or, like, calming down. Or Lux may choose to spend some of her hypno hold to be like, okay, I'm just going to back down.
Yeah. Basically, Lux has turned to you and going like, I really want to shoot him. And sort of like is putting it on you.
Yeah. So you are the shot caller.
Like,
you are the captain of this
slightest
system.
bit of nods and boom.
Yeah. So we boil down to it. Midnight. What do you do?
Well, I don't really want Lux to shoot Rourke.
Okay, so you...
Because that would hinder me in terms of, as you say, Cecil would just put another person on the council.
Yeah. So yeah, like...
That we just have to go through the whole thing over again, potentially.
Let's rip another person apart in the pub. Yeah, so what do you say to Lux? Like, what does Midnight say to Lux?
Midnight says, okay, so I know you can.
Okay.
I know you can, but at this present moment in time, I don't feel it's necessary. The whole point of bringing Rourke outside was to defuse the situation, and you shooting him in the back of the head is not going to help the situation. So,
He's such a prick.
Greg kind of like
He
goes,
stares at your tits. He stares at my basically non-existent tits. Like,
Greg, like none of you can see it in the light, is just blushing super hard.
But
like,
Lux needs to... You need to be able to trust that I can do what is best for me and for the people that I'm involved with.
Yeah. I love the use of I the whole way through.
So I'm...
It's all about Midnight.
So I am Midnight, so I'm going to
cool.
ask you to back down.
okay, I'm gonna like spend one of my holds to do what she tells me to. And
Okay, so yeah.
step down.
Yeah, so Midnight...
Gun goes from pointed down.
Yeah, you're like...
Probably still not in holster, but...
Yeah, maybe the safety snaps back on. We just hear the sound of the safety going on. Yeah, so Midnight, make sure to mark on your character sheet that you have only 2 hypno hold over Lux now. And yeah, Lux, are you like... So, do you two then fall back and allow Midnight to kind of walk up next to Rourke? Is that what's happening here? Is that the plan?
That's what I want.
Okay.
So sorry, you want us to fall back and just
Yeah,
leave
I mean,
you...
well, like, you guys can stay at the same distance. It's just allow Midnight some space to work Rourke over. Oh god, Ingy. Okay, so yeah, Midnight, you wander over to Rourke then. Greg is perfectly happy to, like, go along with this plan. Like, he's close enough to intervene if anything happens. Yeah, and you catch up to Rourke, I think, as he gets back to, like... He gets to one of the elevators, like, turns, he kind of hears, like, your heels, like, click, just behind him. And Jetton's like, what the fuck do you want? What do you do? All you, bitch.
So, just as I'm approaching, conveniently, the elevator doors are closing, and I jump in. Just enough time for me to jump in without Lux and Greg being able to come with me.
Sure. Yep. You've convinced them to hang back, and they're like, oh. And Greg's like, she planned this, didn't she? I think
she always plans this. It's like the 5th time she's done this to me.
He kind of turns like, right. Rourke lives on the 2nd floor, in the sec barracks. He kind of hammers the lift button, and you see like the little lights pop on of like floor 5. It's like, it starts to grind.
Why? Why do they not allow me to drive my car down the stairs? God damn it!
Yeah, so you're like in this little lift with Rourke, Midnight. Actually, let's cut back to the bar briefly. Yeah, you kind of get into this little like lift with Rourke, and he kind of leans back against on the railing and goes, I think just we fade over to the pub as he kind of goes, so, you've got me alone now. And then we fade over. So yeah, back in the pub, they've just left. There's still these 30 people hanging on your word, waiting for action to happen. Tudor. What are you...
So I kind of be like, well, crisis over. Everyone back to their drinks.
So you just kind of basically... It's almost... Party! Yeah, well, like, they listen to that, and I think, yeah, I think maybe your frenzy thing doesn't work so much on a... It's less a... You make dramatic speeches, but you say a few words, and it gets laced with, like, a psychic sting in the tail that, yeah, forces people to pay attention. And, yeah, they're, like... They hear it, and this kind of, like, look of confusion passes over their faces for, like, all of a second before they, like, yeah, they kind of, like, oh, yeah, we were having fun, and the music turns back on. We catch the last, like, 2 bars of Cotton Eye Joe before, Build Me Up Buttercup starts. And, yeah, everyone, like, picks up their drinks, like, a few new rounds are ordered, and, yeah, it's like nothing happened. Except, I think you two are still there. You've got this, like, little handgun now that you tuck away in your belt, Stein. And East Harrow walks over. He goes, and, like, I think as he approaches, like, Tudor, you realise he wasn't affected by your speech. Like, he leapt to hold down Rourke, but he actually wasn't affected by your mob thing, and as such isn't going back to his drinks immediately because, yeah, he doesn't feel the compulsion. He kind of goes, is everything okay, Your Majesty? Are we... will Miss Midnight be safe?
I assure him that Midnight is more than capable of looking after herself. There is nothing to worry about there.
Okay. I think, yeah, he finds I think he maybe takes, like, either Lux or Greg's... Actually, he takes Greg's seat and sits, like, at your right hand. It doesn't say much. He looks kind of concerned. But, yeah, he's very much not in the party anymore. He's making sure he's near you. And you see, like, that his, he's, like, got a knife on his belt that he's, like, surveying the room. Yeah, so, like, you two, like, Tudor and Stein, what are you doing?
I want to try...
Oh.
You go, Jamie.
Yeah, you can read him. You can read East Harrow.
Solid. What do I roll? Weird?
Sharp. This is a sharp.
Sharp.
Doop.
Whoa.
Wow. Okay, yeah, so you read him. So, yeah, you have 3 questions from that list to ask across this kind of conversation. So.
Okay, so I want to start with how he's feeling. How is Northwest? Is it Northeast Harrow?
East Harrow.
East Harrow. There we go. How's East Harrow feeling right now?
He's concerned. Like, I think you get the weird feeling of, like, his emotions are the only ones who were appropriate. Like, you probably weren't affected by Tudor's little thing because you were already angry. So, but yeah, like, like, the rest of them kind of, you get that feeling of, like, I think when you do your synesthesia reading of the Maelstrom, you feel, like, the patterns of the world underlying shift, and you felt something move as Tudor spoke, and they all just forgot that they were angry and went back to drinking and partying. But both you and East Harrow were unaffected by this. These are your true emotions, and he's very concerned. Like, you can tell he feels very protective of Tudor. And that he wants to make sure that Tudor, and he's also worried about all 3 of Midnight, Lux, and more Midnight and Greg, but Lux to a lesser extent.
Okay, I'm going to hold my third, but the second one I want to use to basically see how what Harrow intends to do.
He just wants to stay close right now. He wants to protect the court.
Okay, so he's
Um,
actually honest. He's just not
yeah,
affected. So he's not
yeah.
really a threat.
No, he's definitely his actions are very much protective of Tudor.
Well,
I
the
think,
only reason the spell didn't work is that we shielded him from
yeah,
the spell.
yeah, like
Got
you're.
it. Well, I wasn't there to know that.
Yeah,
So
you were probably heard over the course of the evening that this guy is the one that the miracle was performed upon. So yeah, it seems like whatever Tudor did to him during this miracle has made him not just immune to the black miasma, but to generally the maelstrom, and like the patterns don't flow around him as they would. But you'd have to go into the maelstrom to investigate more about that. But yeah, that's where he's at the moment. Yeah. So what are you guys like talking about?
I
what
want
do
to
you
find
do?
the knife.
Sorry.
I want to find the big fuck off knife.
Yeah, I think someone has put it down on a table and just forgotten that it existed. Like the violence has just vanished, and yeah,
Can I collect the knife then?
yeah, you get this big fuck off Bowie knife.
Cool.
I think I can tell you what that actually is statted as, because it's basically a Bowie knife from a gunlogger handbook. Could you adjust your microphone again, please, Joe?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yes, so that is a big ass knife, which is a 2 harm and then hand range. You want to add that to your gear?
Where is my gear thing?
So that's on the right hand column in your character sheet.
And what do I put again?
So it's a big ass knife. It looks kind of like a Bowie knife, and its tags are it does 2 harm, so 2 hyphen harm, and then it's a hand weapon. Basically means it can be used in close range.
Then I go back to the table.
Yeah.
as
So-
Tudor returns, I set a drink at the table and say, "It seems I owe you a. I'm in your debt."
A question I'd like to ask at this point. What's the relationship between you two? Because you're the only ones who have no HX back and forth with each other.
We touch base on this. It's basically like a professional relationship.
Mhm.
So because he oversees kind of like the workforce of the town, and obviously I'm behind making sure that all the
Yeah.
machines the town does have are continuing to operate. We have had conversations. We know of each other.
You're weird reflections of each other in some ways, because all the industries rely on, like, the bigwigs rely on Tudor to keep their people happy and Stein to keep their people working. Like, it's this weird thing, and both of you are kind of weird and psychic, and you're like these reflections of each other. Of you're absolutely necessary to all members of the court at the same time. It just in the completely opposite fashion. Very interesting one. Sorry, I'm just curious, but yeah, continue. Please say what you were saying.
So yes, Your Highness, do a sort of sarcastic bow. Say, it appears I'm in your debt. I just wanted to mention, you don't really think that Rourke guy is going to make it home alive, do you?
I do say that that's Midnight's problem.
I just wanted to make sure you're okay with it. Did you know it was going to play out that way?
Midnight will do what Midnight will do. I know nothing.
I think East Tower leans in and goes, "It is not our place to question the Duchess, Stein." You're getting that feeling of like religious fervor coming out of East Tower.
Forgive me. I just wanted to say my thanks, and yeah, I owe you one. Enjoy your night, and I just returned to the bar.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm trying to think. Have a quick scan of my fronts. Yeah, I think at this point, like, a guy walks in who, sits down, like, comes over to your table, Tudor, and, looks at you and goes, and you recognize him maybe as one of, like, that guy Parcher, the one in charge of food development, who's been kind of standoffish towards you. He's like one of his like seconds, and he kind of looks at you and he kind of goes, Tudor, Parcher's requested that you come meet him tomorrow, down in one of the sub basements, down in sub basement 7, where you would know to be his kind of floor, basically. The guy's like, and he's yeah, that's his message. So, can I tell him that you're coming?
Yep, sure. I'm always happy to meet with, what's his name again?
Parcher.
With Parcher. I'm sure it will be a pleasure as always.
He nods. I'm sure you'll find it most enlightening. Or is that your job? And he kind of gives you that grin of the people who think they're better than you. Cecil probably did it a couple times during dinner, and yeah, he wanders over to get a beer, and I think maybe like stops next to Stein and talks about, like, you would know this guy as well. He's probably one of the like liaisons for this floor's machinery, and says that they're having some difficulties with some of the larger rigs in the room, and yeah, they'd really appreciate if you could stop by and have a poke around, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I'm trying to think what might happen in this little room while we're waiting.
I'm going to turn to East Harrow.
Okay.
And tell him that for now the miracle should hold, but we'll need to check up on it on occasion.
He nods and goes, I understand. I will be at your disposal.
So, as stress will impact on it a lot, I'm going to do a quick check to see if it's still okay.
Okay.
So I do a weird check on him.
You wanna open your brain?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I roll weird?
Yeah, roll weird. Wow, yeah, okay, so, yeah, I think what you get is, you see, like, your vision, like, flips, kind of, as like, you get, like, the overlay of your palace, and you see, like, the shining, like, steel plate arm with the golden inlays all across him, like, glowing in the psychic maelstrom, and yeah, you see, kind of the ebb and flow of it refuses to, like, move around him. It's like he's kind of static water in the middle of a river. He's almost, you've created some kind of aberration within your domain. It's quite impressive in some ways. But yeah, you see like some of that like black miasma is like maybe traveling along the floor. It's like trying to get at him, but it's held back as if like this thing is like a force field holding it away from him. And yeah, your mind just gets pulled along the course of it very briefly. And you get this vision of like you just get pulled to like the doorway of the throne room, and you turn around it just in time to see like some long black hair flick down the hallway, and a kind of a girlish giggle before the words Wintermute like flash violently in like red and white, like neon almost, like your eyelids, and then you snap back out of it.
Okay. I also, when you fill all the experience boxes, you can level up, right?
When you get to 5, yes.
Cool, I'm at 5.
Cool, yeah. So you can uncheck those and take an advancement.
Cool.
I know which move you're taking, I think, don't I? It's the one that gives you,
I don't know what it's called, though, off the top of my head.
I will have a look in a second. Just let me check something.
And... okay, so I'm out the vision now, right?
Yeah, you kind of like, you get like thrown out of it by this like violent flashing that's in the back of your eyelids. You're like, yeah, you kind of like, it feels almost like that thing of like in a video game where you've been hit by or you get like the tail end of like a stun grenade. Like, there's kind of this like ringing noise in your inner ear, and you're like shaking your head a bit. And like East Harrow leans forward and goes, "Are you alright, sire?"
Oh, yes, I'm fine. But we may have everything's fine, but just make sure you stay with me as much as possible. So.
Always, sire. It seems you've saved my family from me.
So just, sit in the city and everything should be fine. And then I go over... Well, at this point, would I know that Stein's kind of weird and in touch with the psychic world and stuff?
I mean, yeah, you probably have that feeling off each other. Like, I think while maybe it's you've got, like, a trusted friend in... It's like the thing of, like, you've got a person who's different from you who's your close friend in Midnight. Whereas Stein is, like, maybe not a person you necessarily are great friends with, but it's like being two nerds of a specific subject. You recognise, like, the qualities in each other.
Okay, so
It doesn't necessarily mean you get along, because you make each other feel less important when you're in the same room.
Okay, I tell West Tower... East Tower? West Tower?
East Tower.
East Tower. Excuse me for a moment. Walk over to the bar and ask if I could have a quiet word with Stein.
Yeah, the kind of
Yeah,
bounces, like, second, and goes, yeah, so he kind of nods and goes, absolutely.
So draw off, go into one of the, like, secluded corner in the pub and ask him, that miracle we performed earlier? I'm sure you heard about it.
Yeah, I heard.
It appears that powerful psychic forces have been involved. Have you, in your dealings, have you ever heard of anything called Wintermute?
I look at him sharply and think, why'd you ask?
Well, when I went to, after that fight, because obviously the psychic stress in the area, I went to check if everything was alright. And as I went into, the way of it, I saw a flash of black hair, a small girl, and then Wintermute just flashed in my mind. And I feel like some form of problem may be brewing. that Nate needs to be dealt with.
I take a long drink.
Yeah, like pull on your beer.
Yeah, and without looking at him, I say I had a similar vision. I didn't see any girl, but the clearest thing was a door that I saw with the word Wintermute printed on it, and that was it. And it's been plaguing me. Nobody knows. Nobody has given me any idea what this Wintermute is, whether it's a place, a person, a thing. Do you know anything more? Did you see anything else?
No, but I think we're going to have to investigate this further.
Cool.
At this point, is there like a psychic overload? Could I do more augury? Is that like possible? I mean, there's been a lot of shit going on.
Maybe you can. I think your current crew, you might need to wait until like a couple days just to let your crew recharge.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah.
You're probably able to still do it because you're practiced, but like you risk taxing these people's brains. So like you absolutely can use augury to investigate these guys, but you might want to wait a while.
I need different people.
Yeah, maybe you need your proper court.
I suppose it would only make sense that we put our collective forces together and find out what we can about this Wintermute thing. It seems important. I trust that if you find out anything, you'll share.
Likewise, I'll endeavour tomorrow evening, if we can gather as many psychically in tune and high-ranking members of my court, and we can delve into this further.
Cool.
But we're going to need some serious force for this one. I have a feeling.
Cool.
Right. Name the time and place. I will be there.
Yeah.
So I kind of imply that if we'll meet back here tomorrow evening.
I think you have like your traditional kind of courtroom, as it were, not courtroom, but like the place, your like meeting hall. So maybe your next meeting is scheduled in a couple days. We can leave it a couple days to like move along to that, and like that's the next gathering. So
okay,
because
cool.
that means that like just organizing downtime gives people like Stein chance to poke around with tech in his workshop.
Yeah.
Which is important for the Savvy Head, so I'd like to include a bit of breathing room. So yeah, you've got maybe a court...
A few days, then.
A court meeting in, like, 2 days from now, in your traditional place, so you give him, like, the address, and you ensure that your, like, security will let him in, or whatever. we'll get to living arrangements in a bit, but yeah, okay. So I think we the next thing that happens is if you two like talk about this for a while and start to drift apart, like the party's winding down, unless you make a move to keep it going. Like you guys have been deep in nerd chat for like almost an hour over, maybe like, because it's weird, like you're talking about it as if you were like one of you's a mathematician, one of you's like, works in a completely different field. Yeah, philosopher. Like you're trying to translate between, like you're talking about all the subtle patterns of shift, and you're like, no, it's like a river that flows, or whatever it is, and you're slowly working out each other's language. But you yeah, you maybe drift apart, and like you go get one last beer before you go home or something. I don't know exactly. And Barker walks over to you, and he like puts his elbows up on the bar next to you, Stein, and goes, "So, you spend a lot of time around Lux." And then we fade back to the lift, where we have Rourke and Midnight together alone, and Rourke has just kind of leant over and goes, "So, what the fuck do you want?" Midnight, what do you do?
Hey, well, basically, I'm not entirely sure about Rourke. Like, part of me wants to just get him out of the way and just...
I mean, do bear in mind, you always have your read a person move.
No, I know, but part of me just wants to be able to just go, you know what, fuck you, I'm done with you, I don't even care anymore, and just, you know, kill him in the lift. And then part of me's like, hang on, you could actually be useful.
Yeah.
So maybe I should harness that usefulness and just, you know, do something about it.
Okay. Well, that's your inner monologue. Which option you can take? He's waiting for you. Like he looks pissed. Like no, and like the alcohol is fading in his system now, and
He
he's
looks
just
pissed
angry.
and pissed.
Yeah.
He's pissed and pissed. Yeah, that is not a combination that anybody wants.
Yeah. So I think it kind of leans forward and gives you kind of a leering eye and goes, "Are you here to make sure I keep my mouth shut, Midnight? I'll admit, lose a few layers and we may be able to talk." You can almost see like the biggest baddest boy on the playground vibe settling back in. He's just about recovered enough testosterone and sense. Yeah. Like
Partly that, and partly the pure want and need that Midnight scene
inspires.
is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
To need. But obviously, Midnight is not actually there for a good time.
Okay.
She's there to benefit for her own personal use. And she doesn't really want, you know, she doesn't want the whole thing that happened at the bar to be discovered entirely.
Yeah.
So it's it could be a very win-win situation. It could be a very lose-lose situation.
So like, do you just say kind of? It's been she just says, "Not here to have sex with you, Rourke. Don't get your hopes up."
Basically, yeah.
It's semi-flirtatious, but very firmly says, "Not gonna have sex with you."
Exactly. It's very, very, like, I'm gonna manipulate you into doing what I want, but there is no way in hell I am ever going to have sex with you. At least not in this moment in time.
Yeah, I think that's when the elevator doors ding open, and he like turns and just goes, "Yeah, you say that," and like strides out, and like this floor, like 'cause we're on the second floor now, is like it's better lit. It's got like kind of almost like street lights done in properly, as opposed to kind of on the lower floors. You've got maybe a street light at every intersection of roads, and the rest of it's just kind of almost runway lights along the floor. In here, it's like brightly lit. It's a bit warmer than normally, and which must cost shit tons because this is on the second floor. It's one of the second closest to surface level. But you know, nothing's too good for Cecil. And yeah, he goes, kind of turns over his shoulder, like, "Come along if you're coming, then. Whatever it is you want to do." And he starts wandering back towards the Cecil Sec barracks. I presume you follow?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I definitely don't want him to go to Cecil and tell him exactly what's happened at the bar, because that would be entirely,
Bad.
counterproductive.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you I think he might make a few more lewd comments on the walk
Basically,
back.
I think what Walk's trying to do is he's trying to be the whole, I know you want me, I know you want me to do what you want me to do, but at the same time, I'm not going to give in to that straight away. I'm gonna.
Yeah, he very much acts like he's recovering his thing. He acts like, you say you don't want me, you obviously do. Makes a few lewd comments, laughs off your objections. Generally creepy dude shit. And yeah, you get back to kind of.
Considering the fact that he's been staring at me all night, like the entire time we've been at the bar, and I've been drinking and having a good time, and he's just been, sat there staring at me for the whole night.
Yeah.
I've just been sat there thinking, you know what, you have an ulterior motive. Like, why are you trying to deny it?
Oh no, he ain't trying to deny shit. He's very open about the fact he wants to have a lot of sex with you. But yeah, you get back to kind of the entrance to the compound. I think it's like a little wall around like a kind of almost, it's this weird thing of like a lot of the buildings constructed of on this floor are like nicer looking. The ones below are like temporary shelters, mobile homes that have been scavenged from the surface and brought down, stuff like that. This place is like they've gone to the effort of building almost proper buildings underground, and this one is like actually nice. I think Cecil's actually gone to the full thing of he made a bunch of people like once everything was set up. He went out and excavated like an old manor and like brought it back brick by brick and has rebuilt it underground. So his house is like a really nice manor. There's like a big wall of like tarmac around it, and then like over to one side is where the private security guys have their barracks. And he goes, he kind of sighs, he was like, turns towards Cecil's building and goes, "This is where the boss man sleeps. I'm sure you know that, unless you're coming in." And like indicates towards, I don't know, the mess or whatever it is of his barracks. Yeah, are you gonna try and like follow him up for a bit and pull off some fanciness?
I'll follow him up for a few drinks.
Okay, yeah. So he's gonna gravitate to go back to his specific room, unless you divert him. Like.
I'm going to divert him into one of the less known corridors of the establishment.
Okay. Alright.
One that is very, very less frequented by people because it's not a very travelled corridor.
Yeah.
So,
give me a manipulate. Because you're very much. He wants to go back to his room and have sex. So yeah,
exactly.
roll hot.
That is not Midnight's intention.
Okay. Give me that hot roll.
As soon as my laptop stops being an idiot.
You'll need to get like stupidly expensive machines like mine. It's great. Oh my god.
Had some good rolls today.
Oh Jesus, yeah. Okay. I think so with NPCs when so don't forget to mark XP for that hot roll, as well as I think you did a sharp earlier, something. So you should have 2 more XP.
I do XP.
So you should have 4 XP now. It's underneath all your stats.
I should have 4.
Yeah, you should be up to 4, as far as I remember. Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So when you make a seduce manipulate, you have to promise. It's an NPC. You have to promise something. On a 10+, it is up to you whether you keep the promise. But basically, he wants you to promise that you'll supply. He like goes, "I know you got like a bottle of the good stuff lying around somewhere," and he's referring to the fact that you got like, I don't know, some old bottle of like really nice whiskey that literally would be like a barter in its entirety. But you can kind of flip. You can either go get that and like find a little secluded place next to one of the generators to keep warm and drink with him. Or you can just say, "Oh yeah, we'll get that later or another time," if you want to flip him off.
Well, seeing as how this is where, as he so eloquently put it, the boss man sleeps.
Yeah.
And obviously, I'm in a position of power.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
you can, if you just say, fuck it, we'll drink that another time, Rock. Get your cheap shit.
Exactly.
Yeah, you can flip him off, and that's fine. He'll go grab that. Yeah, you find a little secluded spot, and you start drinking. I think eventually you manage to draw him into a conversation that is slightly more, I hesitate to say deep and meaningful, but there's more content to it. There's more content to it than just, like, him making jokes about your tits. So, yeah, do you want to try hypnotizing him now? Is that your plan?
I am going to try and hypnotize him.
Okay, give me that hypno roll. You should be able to just press the hypnosis button.
Oh, my laptop is being so irritating.
And a 7. Okay, so on a 7, I believe you that's a success. That's good. Midnight. That's the arresting Skinner move. Still hilarious to me. On a 7 to 9, hold 2. Okay, so you have marked down on your character sheet in that hold section that you now have 2 hypno hold over Rourke. Yeah. Is there anything you particularly talk to him about while you're chatting, or is it just... Are you just kind of doing the classic... getting him to talk about everything and you actually saying nothing?
No, I'm getting him to divulge his...
I think this is nice conversation as opposed to, like, you're interrogating stuff out of him. So, like, I mean, he'll chat. Like, I wonder if is this a two-way thing, or are you doing the, like...
No,
You're playing the sympathetic audience.
This is me asking him questions about, like, his childhood, how he got to where he is, and just, you know,
Yeah.
like, sympathizing with him, but partly in my head just being like, what are you even doing? Like,
Yeah, I think you get the impression that there's this weird disconnect between things he's proud of and what normal people are proud of. Like, he's always proud of the times that he bullied the nerd kid, or that, yeah, he's the biggest, strongest, and toughest guy around, that kind of stuff. It's very much a thing. He is a thug through and through.
Yeah.
But at least, like, he does prove in this conversation that he's a slightly more interesting... Like, he has thoughts past tits and punching people. So maybe you learn he's ever so slightly more interesting, but... Or no, he's ever so slightly deeper than you thought he was, but it's still scum water. Yeah. So you successfully have hypnosis over him, and I think eventually you two drift apart. Like, he'll make a final entreaty to get you into bed with him, which I presume you decline. Yeah, he's kind of reached a point, like, the alcohol he's like been drinking with you quite slowly, and the alcohol's worn off enough now so that his, like, cracked jaw is, like, you've noticed him, like, rubbing his face over the last, like, 20 minutes a lot more. And he's like, I'm just gonna, yeah, find some painkillers and get to bed. Alright, midnight. And he kind of, like, walks off and is like, I'll get you in here one night, and then closes his door behind him. So, yeah. I think at this point, it's the lights are beginning to go out. Do you drift back to your room and board with Cecil?
Yeah, I feel like I've kind of abandoned Lux and Greg, so I feel like I need to go and find them, and then make my way back.
Okay. So then, speaking of that, where are Lux and Greg?
I don't know what exactly. We probably, like...
You probably catch the next lift. Like, the next lift comes, and Greg, like,
Yeah.
he goes, are we, like, is there any point here? She's on the second floor now. Like, you both can see the lift numbers, and she's got off at the second floor. Like,
Do you know what? She's so far ahead now, like... If he wants to do shit to her, we're gonna be too late anyway.
so Greg's like, she's on the second floor. Not even Rourke's fucking stupid enough to do something to her on the second floor.
Yeah. Should we head back for drinks?
He nods. Yeah, I think he, I don't know if there's already a messaging, any way to get the message to you. But yeah, I think you get the impression that you outpace them. So you don't need to, like, wander back to find Lux if you don't want to. But okay, yeah, you guys wander back. So, I think, yeah, you wander back, you come in. Actually, you'll get there a little after, maybe you wander in, you see Tudor and Stein talking in the corner, you guys go to the bar. And then you turn around just as Barker's, like, up next to Stein. And that's where we're going to cut to a break for 5 minutes. We're going for another hour. And we will be back very shortly. A little
Cool.
bit more. So, right, here comes the complicated process of moving to the next screen. So we go doopa doopa